had to take off my shirt. Hey, I'm Obi, that's it, and we are drinking from the Garden Hose, your favorite podcast about nothing. Guess wherever you get your podcasts, whether it's Amazon, Apple, Google, wherever, we're there. Ed, how are you?
Obi, I just got to tell you, I'm part of the drone. What do we? I don't know. Are we drone nation? Are we drone army? Well, I'm not flying the drone, so I'm not part of drone army. But I've seen a drone, so it's all over the news, in the Northeast. And I was out Saturday night. I don't know. Maybe I let the dog out. Maybe I was taking the garbage out. I'm not really sure, but I look up and there's a freaking drone floating over my house.
Okay. And when you say it was a drone, was it one of these, like, it looked like a toy drone, only bigger? Like, it clearly got the four propellers?
Yeah.
Or...
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It had the four propellers. It was a much larger than one that your kid would play with. We've all seen the little ones.
Right.
No, this was bigger. I've seen them described as 6 feet, large as a car. I can't say that this was as large as a car, but it was up in the air, So
Right.
maybe it was as large as a car. It was just higher. It was, the problem is it's dark out.
Right.
And all you really see is the lights from the drone and maybe a little bit of the outline of the drone with
Right.
your night vision from your eyes. So, the perception in it's tough to
Right.
tell exactly how big it was, but it was clearly a drone.
Excellent. So the day before the drones started hitting in South Jersey, and we've had plenty of sightings down here in South Jersey, I saw something stranger than a drone. My wife was there, and we look up, and at first, as we drive, I go, "Is that a huge helicopter?" Because it wasn't moving. And then as we got closer, it was clearly an airplane, but whether it was an optical illusion or what, it wasn't moving. This plane was not moving. So we don't know what we saw because it clearly looked like a plane. It's not what they say the drones look like. It was the day before the drones started showing up. But I haven't actually seen something that I would classify as a drone, but I did see this weird airplane, which again could have been an optical illusion.
Was it at night?
It was at evening.
Okay.
Like this, it was 6-ish.
Could have been one of those. There's the Osprey, which is a military plane, which does have propellers, and the propellers go vertical, so it can fly like a helicopter. So there are military planes that could present that way.
Yes, it could have been that. But yeah, it was odd. It seemed to be headed towards the Philadelphia airport, because we definitely get planes that head towards the Philadelphia airport relatively low. You can't tickle the wheels or anything, but you can sometimes see the wheels out and know they're landing. So it was weird. But then yesterday, I got to admit, I freaked out. Last night was Sunday night, well after the Eagles game was over. So it had to be like 8 or 9. I heard a lot of banging. Boom, 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 boom. And my first instinct, honestly, Ed, was that's it. Someone's taking out an AK and shooting up a drone.
That would be coming from the Philadelphia side, though.
Yeah,
I believe there's a lot of AR-15s over in Pennsylvania.
Well, it turned out it was fireworks, but there were several people on Facebook that had the same sort of reaction, and they put it on Facebook or in the local page. Wow, that was too late. That's too late for the Phillies game. Is somebody taking down the drone, and then somebody's like, it's some fireworks over at some event. But yeah, I was a little nervous.
I'm all for shooting the drones down. I'm all for it. I understand why they tell us not to, because most likely the idiots will miss and the bullets will land somewhere else and hurt somebody. I get it, but they should be getting taken out of the sky, and we'll find out exactly what the hell these are all about. Are these just a bunch of guys that got together on the internet who are screwing around and flying their drones? Is this just a bunch of copycat people? Did this start with some weird things, but now everyone's piling on? Like, it just seems odd that I only saw one drone, but you hear people say they've seen hundreds in the sky. Is it that people don't know what a drone is and they actually are seeing airplanes and helicopters or stars? um, I don't know, but I really hope we get to an answer soon on this one. This is one of those great mysteries.
Well, I don't want to go too far down this road because it's not, let's say, our area of expertise of coverage, but it's something disturbing about we know they're safe, but we don't know what they are. Uh, then how do you know they're safe? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't say those two things in the same sense. I agree with you. If
Yeah.
they're safe, you know exactly what they are and why they're safe. And if you don't know what they are, you can't say they're safe. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. But we don't need to. We're not a conspiracy theory podcast. What we are is a podcast of a couple of guys who like to complain and make well, we don't like to make mistakes. We like to complain, and one of us likes to make mistakes. And Obi, our last episode dropped late.
It
It's
did.
supposed to go out Friday morning. And as our listeners know, and at least the ones that go to the polls and see the comments, they know that this is a thing that you forget from time to time to launch the episode on time. And I continually have to double check your work, and I have to remind you. And once again, you were late, and you told me that I had to wait for this recording to get the excellent story of why it was late. So I'm really waiting to hear what happened.
All right. So the too long didn't read story and why it was late, but not the excellent part is my son Alex. He went to the hospital. Mostly, turned out he was dehydrated from a stomach bug, and they pumped him full of liquids, and he was back on his feet the next morning. But my wife and I had to wait around in the emergency room for several hours. He first passed out after having blood drawn at 1 o'clock. He came home. They wouldn't let him drive home. They made us pick him up, and then he started throwing up. And then we took him to the emergency room at like 4. It took him back around 5, and then the fun started. Ed, I thought I lived in a hoity-toity community, and that the emergency room would be filled with old men having heart attacks and young guys breaking bones. But no, it is still the emergency room from the television shows. And
You mean George Clooney was there?
who was there?
George Clooney.
No. The doctors don't look that good, but the patients look that bad. It started when my wife looked at me and said, you know, he still is a really handsome, really cute kid when he's not talking, because he was just passed out asleep. And we laughed at, yeah. No sooner does she say that than some old lady comes through. Her lips, her gaunt as can be. She looked like she was dead on the gurney. Like she wasn't moving. I stared. I did not see her breathing. So I think first they rolled a dead old lady past me. Okay. All right. It happens. And let me mention, they never put us in the room. We were in the hallway. There's a room across from us. We hear them talking. And the guy's like there with his wife. Well, he goes into the emergency room with just him and his baby. You hear the baby cry. So first we thought it was a baby situation. Hearts are breaking. And then he goes, no, I just fell down. No reason. I can't figure out why I just fell down. And in comes his wife and his mother-in-law. His mother-in-law takes the baby. And about half hour later, the doctor comes in and he goes, you got a blood alcohol of 0.25.
So the dude's bombed and he didn't realize he was bombed?
Yeah, apparently he's like, oh, well, yeah, I kind of started drinking at 8 a.m.
So this might be the greatest story I've ever heard. And I haven't even heard the whole thing. So this guy starts drinking at 8 a.m. Sometime later what time are you at the ER?
This is at about 8 p.m., I would imagine that.
Okay. So he starts drinking at 8 a.m. Somewhere around 7 p.m. or so, this guy falls over and doesn't realize why he fell over and decides he's going to go to the ER. And that's his story.
That's his story. That's what he told the ER docs. Yeah. No.
And And on top of this, and this dude's got a real problem because he's in the ER with his baby at first.
Yeah,
Like
no
what's
what?
like his wife had to have known he was drinking since 8 a.m. and fell over for some reason. Why is she letting him carry the baby?
So it is plausible. It is plausible that she dropped him off and then went to get her mother-in-law, and then they came back together, or and somehow reason.
Couldn't the baby be in the car with her to go get the
I,
mother-in-law?
I don't know. But so why'd she leave the baby with the guy who fell, who'd been drinking since 8 a.m.? I don't know, Ed. I don't know. So that was patient number one. That was interesting. And if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. But it was shocking when he said, "I've been drinking since 8 a.m." You heard the doctor go, and my wife literally starts laughing out loud.
So did they kick that guy out of the ER at that point? Like, what do you do for a drunk who
You,
I
you
guess
you let him sober up because the only thing that was wrong with him was that he was drunk. So they eventually put him into an observation room, which is like a overnight ER room. I guess it's part of the ER for billing purposes.
oh
I
my
think it's all
God.
about, yeah.
I mean, I can understand people getting sent to the ER to sober up because they were found, right? And they
Yeah.
that's what has to happen. I've never heard of anybody checking themselves in the ER to
With the
sober themselves
baby,
up.
with the baby.
Kind of on accident too.
Yeah,
It seems as though this sobering up was an unintended consequence.
yeah. I don't think he wanted to sober up uh, at all, ever. And I gotta say, had that been me, when my wife showed up to the ER, the whole room, the whole building would have known what was going on. Because how the fuck did you and your drunk ass get to the ER with the baby? Right? The same question you have. How the fuck did that happen? I get that you were drunk. Why is the baby here? Like,
So you're thinking he drove, you thinking he went there with the baby, the wife was not with him.
yeah, that is actually what I think. That was my maybe he fell down and called the ambulance, and then the ambulance came and it took he kept the baby with him because she wasn't home. But then he's been drinking since 8 a.m. alone with the baby,
Yeah.
or he's at somebody's
There's so
party.
much to unpack there.
Yeah, so much I wish I knew.
But that's only patient one. There's
That's
patient,
only
well, actually,
patient.
it's actually patient two. Patient one is dead.
Yes, patient one is dead. This is patient two. Patient three, Alex is now awake a little bit. Um, and he's turned into his regular rascallion of a self. And they ask him to take a piss test because they're just, I guess I got the good insurance because they're just running every test they can. Like they're just like, yeah. The only thing he didn't do, they didn't give him the prostate, so the doctor must have been a senior doctor, not a freshman doctor, based
Yeah, I
on
mean,
your stories.
I think he probably got misdiagnosed if he didn't get the rectal exam. That's how they really know what your problem is. They got to stick a finger up there.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so we are lying down on one wall, and across the hall diagonally uh, is the bathroom. So Alex is lying on the bed, and his feet are at my wife and I. So he's kind of looking past my wife and I, and he asks us, "Where is the bathroom?" Because he has to go and fill this cup. And my wife and I simultaneously point to the bathroom, and this was choreographed out of a movie. As we point, a woman walks out of the next room, full ass, bareback, naked, like her hospital gown's on, but we don't get to decide with the hospital gown's on. Ass cheeks to the wind. She's got to be our age, 50 years old, and we simultaneously point right at her ass.
So wait a second. She's wearing a hospital gown but just didn't tie it.
Yeah,
Nice.
and she was headed to the bathroom too. So like we're like pointing at her, but it was like, "Where's the bathroom?" We swing the point, and we all just go same time. Ah, no, fuck.
So how quick did Alex get up to follow that? Because you and his mom were telling him go follow that.
Yeah, Alex has a girlfriend. He didn't need a 50-year-old saggy ass. Just gonna say he was comfortable with what he's got over what was being offered by the woman in the hospital. So that's patient number. And listen, I'm gonna say, had I been in the hospital, that very well could have been me. Like I don't care. I ain't bashful like that. I'm an old man. I gotta go to the bathroom, and nobody tied the thing behind me. I'm probably walking. My ass is probably hanging out, but it was funny. Now we get to the two people who I think were both unhoused, if you will. So behind us, there's a hallway, and there's another patient in the hallway, and he's loud, and he's in there because his feet are numb. Okay, that's okay. Your feet are numb, and so they start asking him questions. Uh, and I realize something's up, and they say, "Do you smoke?" And he says, "Yes." And they say, "How often do you smoke?" And I shouldn't be telling jokes and laughing about people in this man's situation, but it was funny. I can't help it, especially when you're in dire need with your son in the hospital.
Because
And
he
he goes,
immediately went to weed, right? He started
"No,
talking about smoking weed.
no,
No?
no." He goes, "I don't know. It's however many I can bum."
Some days the bumming are better than other days.
Some days the bumming's better than other. And then they go, "Okay, so now they're immediately suspicious. Do you drink? No. You smoke other drugs? No. Just cigarettes. What medications are you on? I don't know. Have you ever had a heart attack?" The guy goes, "I don't know. I woke up in the hospital once and they said something was wrong with my heart. I don't know what it is. They didn't give me meds to take for it, so I don't know." Ha-
Oh my God.
Now, past this guy is the nurse's station, and they're taking forever to do something. And Erica's already yelled at the doctors once or twice because, she's Erica, and this shit has taken too long. Like, it really took too long for him just to give him his first IV. And so she wants to know if some test results are back because a lot of the test results are already on the app, and he's hungry and they want to know if he can eat. So she has to go to the nurse's station, which is past this guy. So she goes, "Can you go check on the nurse's station and ask?" And I walk, I turn, and I see this guy's numb feet. And he had gangrene like up to his ankles. His feet were black.
Oh wow.
It was I couldn't walk past him. I couldn't physically do it. God bless the doctors. I couldn't do it. So Erica had to deal with that. And every doctor, it was almost like a game to them. They really wanted to see if he would give the same answers, I guess. Went up and asked him the same question. So I heard that he didn't know if he had a heart attack multiple times, that his feet were numb. It's the first time they've ever been numb. None of the doctors believe that. And I understand after having seen his feet. And the sick, how do you smoke? Yes. How often? I don't know, whatever I can bum. And then Ed, he has insurance. That was the amazing thing. The man had insurance. They asked him for his insurance. They gave it to him. He did try to leave the hospital 2 or 3 times, but they convinced him to stay multiple times. So Godspeed to that guy. I hope he figured out something. But I don't think he's keeping his feet. No, I don't think he kept his feet. I think that was the end of his feet, or at least some of his toes. That was not a good thing. Not a good thing. It was rough.
Obi, you are just for our listeners, you're just reinforcing that you should never go to the ER.
Oh my God, no! We should have waited a day and gone to an urgent care.
That's what urgent care is for. You got to find an urgent care. You can't go to the ER.
I think you're probably right. And I got one last patient. Again, we believe they were unhoused. I'm not positive. They're in the ER. They're also in the hallway. And this woman is in the hallway, and she is eating everything they'll feed her. And she's just eating and eating. She's lying in the cot. When I walked past her, because I had to walk past her to get to the bathroom, she just looked happy. Like, okay, I don't know what was up with her. Maybe she had, something like Alex had. I don't know. But now she was eating and she looked happy. And it was definitely those sort of hospital cookies, like Lorna Doone type things and Jello that she was eating. So it was definitely hospital food she was eating. She was doing her thing. And so they go into her, and this is the only thing we heard about her was, okay, it looks like you can go home now. Where do you live? she says, Trenton. Now I'm in South Jersey. Trenton's a decent way away.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I don't think the transportation takes you that far. She's like, it took me all the way here. So they had a whole conversation about whether transportation could get her all the way back to Trenton. But I am pretty convinced that she was attempting and she figured out a good way to find a warm place to stay that night, because that was one of the colder nights of the year. Like it was really cold then. I remember getting ready to take Alex and like, no, I need to go back into the house and get a scarf. It's cold. It was cold. So I think she figured out the system, was gaming the system, and found herself a free meal and a warm place to lie her head for a little bit. So good on her for taking advantage of the hospital system. Because remember, we all know what happened with medical money this week or last week. So she was like, she understood the game, and good on her. I think that's what happened there.
So what you're saying is you have a good excuse for dropping the episode late.
I have a great excuse.
You got to see a woman's rear end.
Yeah. Free porn at the hospital, if you will.
And I think the greatest story of all is the guy who says he fell and he's not sure why. And then it comes back that he's bombed.
So the worst part about our podcast tonight is that Erica appears to have gotten what Alex has gotten, much less severe. But she was texting her friend as this was going on, and I told her to send me the whole text of everything that happened, that she had been communicating with a friend, so that I would have better details. And my wife's a little like you, where, don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. And the story would have been better had I had those details. But yes, her favorite was the guy who had been drinking since 8 a.m. When he said he had been drinking, like, she started laughing. I out loud, just blurted out laughing. While her son is passed out in the hospital, been on an IV drip. This guy's life story was keeping her entertained.
Well, it would have kept me entertained.
Oh, for sure. I was more entertained by the gangrene guy. I had better listening on gangrene.
That would disgust the hell out of me.
It did me. I couldn't walk down that road. I was like, no, can't do it. Reason I didn't even think about becoming a doctor. No, you go that way. Nope.
The last thing I gotta say, that there's all good stories, but as we transition, this is the holiday episode, right? This is going to be dropping before the holidays end, or before they begin. And AI, you've become a big proponent of AI photos to kind of recapture. You kind of type in AI, like what we talked about, and boom, it spits out a picture. But we should talk about one of our listeners put together a picture, and I should share this with our Facebook listeners, or maybe I'll put it on the next episode. I'm not really sure, but shared with us what I thought was a somewhat holiday type drinking from the garden hose AI generated picture with me and you wearing red Rutgers skin tight shirts.
Yes, yeah.
Jumping, you more happily than me, jumping, yes. Holding a hose, garden hose with water coming out of it. And the two things that really are striking to me is your mustache and the fact that he made us wear those blue shorts. I don't understand why. So I'm gonna have to post a picture, but it cracks me up that our listeners are sending us photos of us.
Well, I love that they're sending us AI photos, not real photos, because to be honest, that particular listener may have a photo of the two of us in something even worse of a situation. Like, I don't know if he does. I don't know what his camera life was like, but somebody from that time has a picture of the two of us in a situation, maybe even in a hot tub, drinking from the hot tub hose. Who knows? And that was a hell of a picture he made.
Well, I think it's quite, if somebody has a picture from the hot tub or anything else, that would really suck.
And the charm is that we suck. I'm Obi. That's it. Catch us next time on Drinking from the Garden.